Feather menace won't just wait for you to trash it, as Tokyo crows have robbed people to steal their loot. The bird called Ganasu has bloodied the—
This is pretty much the YNs of the animal kingdom right here, basically. And I'm not saying that just because they're black. Like, I mean, they really out here stealing, robbing. All right, here we are with Casual Geographic. It's been a little minute since I've reacted to one of his videos, but today's video is how crows gave Earth's biggest city the middle finger. Let's go ahead, let's see what's popping. Why is he standing like that?
I love you.
I've never seen a crow with this format right here. What is this? What? It's a panda crow. Yes. What? This is hard. This is fire right here. Not gonna lie.
I love you.
Do you have any idea how stressful a street war with birds would be?
Hey,
no,
yo.
Because you don't live in Tokyo. Tokyo has a gang problem. The problem is the members aren't human and can fly. At one point,
man, I'm aiming on all of them. I promise you, if a bird come at me like that, I'm not gonna lie, that's the last time. I ain't never had crow before, but that's gonna be the first time.
more than 36,000 crows crowding the eastern capital, thanks to the massive amounts of trash produced by the city each year. Crows—
oh, that's just dirty on the city's part. Y'all, man, clean your city up. Stop littering. And nothing pissed me off more than people that throw stuff on the ground and the trash can is right there. Just throw it away, my guy. Just throw it away. Don't be a dirty ass individual. Don't be that.
basically monkeys minus thumbs, but with unlimited airtime, and as corvids, along with others like ravens, jackdaws, and magpies, make up the smartest group of things with wings on the planet. Smart enough to use cars as nutcrackers, only to collect when the walk sign's on, and smart enough to memorize garbage routes for different parts of the city, just to snatch trash before the workers do. But a habitual—
you should have just handed it to him. It was already his. He already decided it was his before you threw it in the trash can.
Feather menace won't just wait for you to trash it, as Tokyo crows have robbed people to steal their loot. The bird called Ganasu has bloodied the—
this is pretty much the YNs of the animal kingdom right here, basically. And I'm not saying that just because they're black. Like, I mean, they really out here stealing, robbing.
of school children while trying to make off with candy, and have even broken into classrooms to raid lunchboxes. They'll also storm zoos for a living lunch, often in a—
man, me and that crow would have been boxing. You ain't taking my lunch that my mama packed for me.
Kidnapping baby prairie dogs and ducklings. Not to mention they'll attack livestock, pecking at the udders and causing cuts that can lead to infection. That is if they don't just bleed out.
Yo, this cow is not eating. Do you see this? The ribs. Bro, who cow is this? You need a I'm gonna call animal services on you.
In 2017, Tokyo's government received over 600 complaints of civilians thrashed by the aerial urbanite, with most coming in the spring, their nesting season. Which brings another problem. Crows nesting in utility poles have caused blackouts, and using fiber optic cables as material has brought down entire broadband networks. One time, even shutting down high-speed bullet train service in Akita. Hundreds of millions in yen are spent each year removing nests, with the Hokuriku Electric Company stripping 15—
I've never seen that many birds on an electric pole before. Like, there's an electric pole on my house. It's nowhere near this many, and it'll probably be like, I say about 15 to 20 at most max I've ever seen. Probably like 30 lined up before. This is outrageous right here.
1,880 in 2018. Yet somehow the crows seem to shake it off. How? Well, because the crows started making decoy dummy nests to lead them away from the real ones. Crows and Tokyoites have been beefing for years, but it didn't escalate until a certain event in 2001, when one crow decided to dive bomb a man while he was playing golf. That man was Governor Shintaro Ishara, and he swiftly declared conflict on the corvids, with promises of changing Japan's national dish to crow pie. Since then, it's been on site, with the government trying everything to—
he took that personal, bruh. He said, you want to attack me? That's it. You know what? Serve them all up on a silver platter. We eating all of y'all.
By a vindictive air terrorist, employing hawk mercenaries to try to fight fire with feathers, and even installing beehives in the heart of Ginza, so the Ginpachi can give the crows a taste of arguably even more of a flying crash out.
Bruh, he took that personally.
With the Yakuza, and these air gangsters have been testing people in ways arguably no other city animal ever has. And for all humanity's hubris, this might be the one time we have to eat crow. and not in the way that Chi-Ji had in mind.
This crow just did a drive-by on a ice, not even a drive-by. He did a whole flyby on an ice cream cone.
So how did a bird manage to humble a nation the most since the Emu War of 32? Because at least emus are damn near dinosaur size. Well, like almost everything else, it started with our garbage. Tokyo produced 3.52 million metric tons of trash in 2001, and in 1994, the government switched from black plastic bags for curbside pickup to semi-see-through calcium carbonate options. The intent was to reduce environmental impact, but a consequence was the scavenge happy could now see what was in the bags and had a much easier time finding takeout. In recent years, Tokyo has seen a rise in bears and boars commuting into the city for trash, and wild macaques have continued to be a problem. But according to a wildlife management study, out of the 10 major invasive species, it was crows that caused the highest percentage of harm, and it was also crows that people were most in favor for lethal measures against. The gag is, crows in Tokyo aren't invasive, people just hate them off principle. But if just liking trash was the only barrier of entry, Japan would have more problems than a flying black Air Force. The problem is, crows had a counter for almost everything thrown at them. First is that crows have great memories and hold grudges. In 2006, remember that year,
This is just indefinite smoke right here.
University of Washington conducted an experiment where 7 crows were trapped and eventually released by people wearing scary masks. Not too long after, study leader Professor John Marsloff was strolling the campus with a mask when 47 out of the 53 crows he encountered violently rejected to his presence. Each following year, the number of vindictive, on-site campus crows grew and peaked in 2013. Even though at this point, they'd only see the mask twice a year for a few hours, and especially even though most of the crows on the offensive weren't even alive at the start of the study. It wasn't until September 2023 that the harassment eventually stopped, and it probably wasn't even that they forgot, just that it took 17 years for them to drop the vendetta. There's also the implication that crows can communicate so well that even those born after the study could instantly tell which masks meant bad. So yeah, that memory is good for more than just garbage routes. You do wrong by a crow, you're screwed.
Bruh, this is absolutely insane. I see right now why they made it okay to eat y'all. Cause like how do you even react to something like this?
Very long time, which Tokyoites have learned the stressful way.
Thousands and thousands of
saw a couple
crows
of his colleagues being attacked by a few crows and fended them off by swinging his belt. The crows backed off, but the next day, they returned to work to find hundreds of crows posted up on their building of business, waiting for them. So safe to say, conventional extermination doesn't really work in an animal that can learn the look of the workers doing it and will mob them on sight. They also tried traps where they bait the crows with food like lard and then gas the captured crows with carbon monoxide.
Damn, they treat them like a real pest.
Not only was that method way more costly than it was worth, they didn't expect a group of goth tweeties named Murder to turn death into a life lesson. Crows have funerals, but not the kind that you think where they mourn the dead. In fact, they're more likely to okay, anyway. When a crow sees another dead crow, it'll often call out to the surrounding birds and they'll all gather around the fallen member to investigate the cause of death. A study even found that the sight of the deceased triggers activation in the part of the brain associated with higher order decision making. Because crows understand cause and effect, enough to realize that a threat to one is a threat to all, so they'll recruit others to investigate the cause of.
Okay, yeah, this animal is way too smart for its own good. Way too smart.
It's why crows will sometimes avoid a field for years if they see a past tense crow there once. The same study also found that crows will harass any human seen near the corpse, likely pinning the death on them, but will also do the same if they see a human with a hawk, probably realizing that a hawk and a human can equal a bad time. So mass crow killings barely put a dent in the population, and speaking of hawks, they weren't as effective as the government hoped, as although big enough hawks will murk crows, crows will use their numbers to effectively mob birds of prey and chase them off. You see where I'm going with this, right? These Flyinsteins had a counter for everything. The Tokyo terrors would avoid.
This bird is literally a menace to society. Absolutely. They try to get the big homies on the little homies, and they just end up jumping them. They just end up jumping them and packing them up. It's nothing they can do. There's literally nothing they can do, bro.
With traps, and any crow deaths were likely reported on and adjusted for by the greater crow community. And let me just remind you that crows were out here making decoy nests to slow their human ops down. Even with the crow cavalry falling from its near 40,000 population peak in 2010, there were still an estimated 20,000 running the naked city, causing the government to get even more creative. This is how bad it got. Tokyo had researchers studying more than 10,000 different crow sounds and isolating the specific sound they make in response to a predator, and playing those calls on loudspeakers near trash sites. Basically what pilot whales do to orcas, Japan had to resort to with a bird. But really, the only thing that made a difference was regulating the very problem that caused it. People started covering their trash with blue protective tarps, and Utsunomiya University professor Shuei Sugira helped develop a special yellow garbage bag that the crows couldn't see through. And it had to be a very specific yellow or else it wouldn't work. Many places like restaurants in Ginza pivoted to having their garbage collected at night, instead of the crows' prime time of late morning. But by far, the most effective measure was just making less trash in the first place. And Tokyo's 3.52 million metric tons of trash in 2001 was cut down to 2.45 million in 2024. Eventually, the crow numbers would start to chip away, and in 2026, the population is only 20% of its peak 2 decades ago. That was the only way a trash terrorist was going to be beat, as bird experts noted that the traps would only work on younger, dumber crows, and that the birds even figured out how to work around the protective tarps. But some experts worry that the war isn't over, that it's only a matter of time before the next wave of street-smart crow fiends rise up again. Crows are just too smart to be defeated by conventional methods, because crows are not a conventional bird. In fact, they might have the most unconventional form of self-defense.
Bruh, this nigga is doing... Bruh, what is... I've never seen a bird do this before. I've literally never seen a bird hit this pose a day in my life right here.
One of the biggest trolls in the animal kingdom, and I don't think it's close. But what if I told you the rage bait's strategic? Let me explain. Crows are omnivore opportunists, and a lot of those opportunities come from scavenging. But scavenging can put them up against much bigger, more powerful predators. So crows will often be so annoying that they force the competition to rage quit. And they'll do this by pulling feathers, and they'll do this to some of the largest birds of prey. Stellar sea eagles are big enough to catch an AI accusation, but a crow will still tail check them. And in this video, you start to see why, with this crow pulling up on 2 turkey vultures and repeatedly baiting one of them until the vulture finally has enough and makes it the bystander's problem, allowing the crow access to the bird bath. An even more extreme example was a crow arriving at a fresh carcass and waiting for stronger vultures to tear into the hide he couldn't. And with the gift box open, the crow immediately started pulling tails and testing patience, until eventually the troll bird instigated a vulture brawl, during which he snuck in and stole him a piece.
Bruh, this is top tier instigating right here, bruh. Just, bruh. This is like you having a nigga come up, you know what I'm saying? You don't even know, you know what I'm saying? You with your homeboy, and then he sets you up to argue with your homeboy. You know what I'm saying? That's what literally happened right here. Just straight up instigated a whole brawl. They were in this together, and then now they boxing, now they scrapping.
Seems the habitual line stepping is a way for the crow to counter brawn with brain. But crows will use troll tendencies on anything from seagulls to eagles, from deer to dogs. But there's one animal that always seems to fall for the rage bait. The number of catfights provoked by crows is actually insane. I don't know what that crow said to that cat to make him crash out like that, but surely someone's mother was involved. And then they're always right there to enjoy the violent fruits of their instigation. Crows don't want peace, they thrive off problems.
Look, he got mad that he couldn't get, so he had to take it out on the next man.
Just to hover above it like a boxing promoter. Now, it's possible the crows recognize the cats as a threat, and this is a 900 IQ play to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, or 2 cats with 1 crow. It would make sense for crows to turn cats on each other, especially if they have fledglings or a nest nearby. But crows are also smart enough to just do stuff for fun, and they're smart enough to use tools to do it. So I can 100% see crows using live cats as tools for their own amusement. Especially since in a lot of these clips, the crows don't look like they have anything to gain. No food, no agenda, just free will and love of the game. So what do you think? Anti-predator measures, resource access strategy, or just pure trolling? Who's to say it's not all 3?
This crow is honestly a threat, without a doubt. This bird, I meant. It's not even just a menace to humans, but other animals and livestock and everything else that's in this world. Hey, if you like the video, then like the video, and if you want to see more reactions, subscribe. I love y'all.
Shout out to my twin. Ain't never seen tears from a gangster, so why the world want me to cry? Fighting depression, talk to them spirits, use them judges that help me get by. But I cannot lie, yeah, that shit hurt me bad when I got that call, told me you died. Like how the fuck can they take you? Man, I hope I wake up, it's a lie.